tested positive for like 5 days in a row. I was just like taking a test. I was literally putting the solution on the cartridge and watching it instantly give me crimson red lines. I was like, she's super COVID positive right now. But, you know, shit happens. And I was like, all right, whatever, I'm over it. But, you know, it is what it is. But that was that. I'm alive. So thank you all for your well wishes. So we've got a couple of stories. Certainly a lot of things have happened in our absence since last week and the week before last. So before we jump into those, y'all don't have anything?
I mean, I can talk about my new makeup.
Well, let's talk about your new makeup.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Smack us with it, girl. Go ahead. Go for it.
So a long time ago.
A long time ago.
And I'm talking like college until probably, I don't know, 3 years after. I used to use Bare Minerals as my foundation and whatever.
Okay.
Not that I wear makeup because I don't. But then I started wearing this other product, which I loved. It was just a lotion. It was a color corrector, and it was great. But staying on top of my skin tone during summer, then fall, then spring. I'm pale as fuck. I'm starting to get some color. It was a pain in the ass. So this past weekend, I was at the birthday party, and my mom and my sister were like, girl,
you need something on that face.
No, they were like, you need to blend. And I was like, is it that bad? Because I knew the color was a little bit off because I wasn't going to like buy a new one. I had like a full tube. And they were like, yeah. Like, it's like it ends here and then it's your neck. I'm like, oh.
Okay, so let's go into the bathroom. Ladies, get information.
My mom's like, she was so funny. She looked at me. She was smoking a cigarette. She was like, you need a brush. You need to blend. And I was like, oh my God, really? And so I went online, and I always loved Bare Minerals. It's a great product. It's lightweight, and it's great coverage. And so I ordered my old like kit, I guess. And I'm finally back to Bare Minerals today.
And Bare Minerals is good.
And
I like
there's
it.
you can't really, Tom, tell me if I'm wrong, but can you see a difference here?
I don't know. The camera's on you. No, I don't think you can.
No, I'm asking you if you can.
No, I just see.
There's a nice blend.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I see skin.
Exactly.
I don't even see, like, honestly, I can't even tell that you're wearing anything.
Exactly.
Which is kind of like the point. Yeah.
But it was weird because this morning was the first time I've had to like use a powder versus a lotion. And I was like, oh my God, I don't remember how to fucking do this. I'm like, am I gonna put too much on? And it also comes with an eye brightener, which has a little bit of like sheen in it. And I'm like, you don't want to use too much of that because if you do, then it looks like you're wearing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Not that like that's bad. Like if that's what you want to do, live your life, but that's just not my jam.
Yeah.
So you have to use just a little bit to highlight the
teeny
eye.
Bit.
Yeah. And I showed up at work, and my coworker, I was like, I'm trying a new thing today. I'm trying Bare Minerals. And she was like, Nick, no one looks at you as much as you think they do. And I was like, what? Is that your real response?
I mean, she may not be wrong. I mean, sometimes, so you know, we go through this whole thing about, you know, trying to make sure that we look good and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, on occasion, sometimes he will ask me, he's like, do you have on? And I'm like, no.
Yes, she does.
But I do. And what I do is I just put it in the corners. I don't go the entire length of my eyes. It just opens up my eyes and make them look bigger. And I think it's beautiful. It's okay. Men can wear makeup.
I think I notice because I see you so often. I don't think people would notice otherwise. But when you put it on, it looks amazing. Like you look great. Your eyes pop.
Yeah, they do.
Like for me, the basic, like I don't put a lot on. It's just like, you know, a basic, you know, just color corrector, whatever on my skin. So everything's even, but like, I don't feel comfortable without it on now.
Right. Well, I mean,
you're used to the routine. So.
Right. Just make sure that you give yourself some time to breathe, you know, your skin, you know, make sure that you're washing it off at night.
She washes it off every night.
Okay, just making sure. That's why she doesn't want to take my video calls when I call her and she's at home.
And she's at home.
Yeah, if it's not on, I don't like to.
Yeah, if it's not on, she's not on.
It's not even the face really. Right. At that point, it's more the hair. Because if my hair is not, my hair is like, you've seen it in the morning.
I've seen you in the morning, so it's like I've seen it all. I've been exposed to all of it. Every single little bit of it I've seen. And therefore, it doesn't faze me. I mean, when she calls me, I see it.
Here's the thing, though. I love you, but I know you, and that bitch is going to be on the back end being like, screenshot, screenshot, screenshot.
I only did it once, and it was just so that I can put it as your profile picture on my phone.
That you share with everybody.
I do not. I just say, call me.
It's literally like I'm calling you and you're at work. You're like, hey, everybody, look.
It's Trish.
It's my friend Nick. It's Trish.
Look at her.
No.
And then everybody's like, she's worse than Renee.
But the picture that you have of me, though,
yes.
Yeah.
But you posed for that.
But I did, but it's like, so, you know, I've got man boobs. So if I push them up, it looks like I got a serious cleavage. So he snapped a picture of me doing, let me see, I got to put the camera. So I have no shirt on and I'm doing one of these. So you see the boobs and then you just see this massive amount of like hair just coming out in between them. And I'm just like.
And that's what I get when you call me.
Every time I call him, that's what he sees. So we're a hot mess. All right. So jump into some stories.
Yeah, live your life.
Well, I want to talk about some congressmen are making waves, some gay congressmen. And so I wanted to talk about one first. I want to talk about U.S. Rep. Chris Pappas. He's a Democrat from New Hampshire. So he's been in Congress for quite some time. And over the course of this weekend, Mr. Pappas, again, a Democrat from the state of New Hampshire, married his boyfriend.
Oh my God, they're so adorable.
They're so adorbs, aren't they? And he basically said, you know, Van and I are excited to share that we are married. Pappas wrote, sharing images from their special day on Twitter, which we're not on, unfortunately. So we feel so fortunate to have found each other and to be building our lives together. And we're grateful for the love and support of our family and friends. Rep. Mark Pocan, a Democrat from Wisconsin, who chairs the Equality Caucus in Congress, wrote, congratulations to two great people that make a great couple. Pappas has been a vocal supporter of LGBTQ plus rights while he has been in office. The lawmaker is the first out gay man to represent New Hampshire in Congress, and he's championed the Respect for Marriage Act, which was signed into law late last year. And I have said this many times on this show, and I will continue to say this probably until I take my last breath. I'll probably be on my way to the morgue, and I will say, visibility is our biggest strength.
Yes.
That'll be what comes out of my mouth, my last dying breath. Because I do believe, I wholeheartedly believe that visibility is our biggest strength in our community. When we stay silent and when we don't do things like this, like go out there and marry the person that you love and get into people's faces about your rights as a human, it just doesn't allow for change to happen. But when there is visibility, when you're not afraid to express the love that you have for another human being and the fact that you want to share your life with them and you go ahead and do it anyway, it's a beautiful thing to see. You know, like I admire, I haven't found love in my life, at least not yet. But I admire people who are married and have been. I love you. But I know you love me, but it's a different kind of love. Yeah. You know? Yeah, because it definitely wouldn't be marriage love. She would die weekend. No, but I admire a lot of people, you know.
And I would die by murder. FYI.
Yeah. And she'll be buried in my backyard. So if you can't find you, know where to look. Shit, I shouldn't have said that. No, but, you know, when you think about, for example, people who have been in very long relationships, Hans Hershey and his husband, you know, have been together for many years. They have a child together. Mm-hmm. Which is a beautiful thing. And, you know, you think about other people that we know personally that have gotten married recently. You officiated a wedding not too long ago.
Correct.
It's just beautiful to see people, you know, just doing it, going out there and just being vocal in public and sharing the love that you have for someone.
Yeah, and I also think that it's like, I mean, I told this story on the show, but I think it's really important that now that we're starting to see more representation in politics, which is very important,
Right.
that, you know, people are transparent about, if they feel comfortable, transparent about their sexuality. Because, I mean, when Eric won the nomination for state treasurer, and one of the first things that came out of his mouth was thanking his husband, it's something you just don't see, and it's something that's so powerful. And and like I said on the show, I cried. Like, it's like, this is happening in my state, and this person is working for our government and the people of Connecticut. And it was just so powerful. And to see people like this individual, it's Pappas, right?
Yes. Mr. Chris Pappas.
You know, not only, you know,
I'll show y'all a picture of him. He's actually a very handsome guy.
Being gay and, you know, making decisions that will affect change for the future of our nation, but then also sharing, you know, the fact that he's married to another man gives hope to so many people. And also outside of that, like, it's like, okay, that person does represent me.
Right.
I can trust that person.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know, even when you go and we talk about TV shows or movies and there's not enough representation, like, I want to see representation. I want to feel like that show speaks to me. That person knows me. That person that's representing me reflects who I am
As a human.
Right.
You know, just
and
like
understands.
Right. And, you know, just like, for example, the episode 3 of The Last of Us, which we discussed 2 weeks ago, on how impactful that episode was, but also how polarizing it was for, you know, the demographic that the show brings in to see an episode so in your face like that for them, because it was unexpected, but I'm so glad they did it.
Yeah.
Because what it did was, not only did it piss off a whole bunch of, you know, people that should be, you know, shut the fuck up, but it also opened up an opportunity for those who have not been exposed to that may not know that this is a thing, that it's all right to love someone else, to maybe open up dialogue in a way that might be beneficial, right? You might have someone who's heterosexual, who's very straight, and had never seen or been exposed to a love story, an amazing love story, between two men, maybe start looking at things a little bit differently. Maybe start opening up their minds about, you know, the possibility of, like, why am I offended by this? This is love. Yeah. This is what I would have done with my wife. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And to go back to, like, Chris Pappas, you know, I mean, you think about, you know, there's a huge population of America and generally the world that have this concept that if you're gay or if you're trans, you're a predator, you're a child predator, right? Or whatever it is that they have these pre-connotations of.
Right.
But the reality,
and it doesn't help that the Republican Party currently, a lot of members in this party are pushing that narrative, right? Where they're trying to attack, for example, drag queens in story time, where they're trying 100%. To prevent, you know, the teaching of gay history in schools and having books banned and things like that. So, you know, these are all things that are happening in the midst of all of us still being brave and going out there and showing ourselves.
Yeah, but sharing, like you were saying, it's like sharing a life event that's, you know, a wedding that's so special. It almost normalizes the conversation, and it brings focus to the reality that it's just love.
Right. And it's a beautiful venue that they chose. The reception is gorgeous. Like, I would assume when you get married, it's going to be just like this.
With a runaway car on the back.
Yeah. Nah, that would be me. That would be.
So I'm never going to get married. Let's be honest.
I mean, you know, it's
Never
not
say
all
never.
it's not all rainbows and unicorn, right? I mean, Jay, you've been in your marriage for well over 3 decades, on and off.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And it's not always rainbows and unicorns, but, you know, you
Definitely.
you make do.
We make do. Yeah, and it is, you know, it's time consuming in a way. when you're sometimes hit with certain aspects or issues that you didn't think would ever come up, for me, one of the major hurdles was, having to talk with and letting her know, I'm bisexual. This is how I feel. This is where I'm at, and we need to have some talk. So it's interesting. It takes a lot, and we have our ups and downs. Currently, we're having a downtime, and
Right.
it is what it is. I think just communicating and talking to one another and trying to clear things up. But when you need to take a break, take a break.
Yeah.
I can't stress that enough. You know what I mean?
I think it's healthy.
insane.
It's
Yeah,
healthy.
It's healthy. It allows time for both of you to reflect
Mm-hmm.
and come back with a clearer head.
Mhm.
It's never an easy. Sometimes you'll blow up. Because I've noticed. Previous years when when we were in the beginning of relationships, I would just bottle shit up. I'm just gonna let it go. And then one day she would walk by and tip over a cup or something, and I'd fucking lose it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not healthy.
Right.
So, it takes a lot of time and communication to get to a certain place. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
I hope they find it. I hope that they find, the space that, year one is always great, fabulous. And, you're always on honeymoon, you're having sex so many times and it's all about celebration. But, 10 years in, it's a different story.
Yeah.
So
You hit change, you hit those hurdles and you make those changes as they come up. So that's where the challenges and where things come into play that will either make or break that relationship.
Right.
So that's all I can say.
And the same, the beautiful thing about what you're saying, even though, it's real and hard,
Yep.
is that goes for any relationship. Gay,
It does.
straight,
Mhm.
bi, trans, poly, whatever. Everybody has the hurdles to jump through.
Yep.
And I think, what you said was perfect. It's about acknowledging it and keeping lines of communication open because, as they say, love is love and you can figure it out.
Absolutely.
And love wins.
love always wins. All right. Well, listen, I think we should take a break because we do have a couple of more stories that we want to cover. But before we leave you, I wanted to make sure that we announce. So Poppy Champlin, she is a lesbian comedian who we've had on the show before. It's been a while since we've run into her. Reached out to me to let me know that she will be in Connecticut. And she's going to be doing her show, which is called the Queer Comedy Queens. It's going to be on Sunday, April 2nd, 2023 at the Funny Bone Comedy Club and Restaurant in Manchester, Connecticut. It's featuring Poppy Champlin, of course, and Michelle Balin and Kathy Arnold, along with special trans comic Emily Santosis. And so that's going to be happening. They do have a Facebook invite and stuff, but I can send.
Are we going to go?
I don't know. It's on a Sunday. You no longer work on Sundays. Maybe we should.
You're free on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the other side of the break too. But anyway, if you want more information on that particular show that's happening here in Hartford, Connecticut, you can go to Queer Comedy Queens, and that's Queer Comedy with a Q, QOMEDY, queens.com, and check them out because I think they're amazing. She's a funny woman. So we're friends on Facebook and she's always posting videos. Throughout the pandemic, actually, she was my entertainment. Literally, just saying. But that's happening. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we do have more dish. Be back shortly. Welcome back from the break. We are done refreshing our spirits and doing all that good stuff. Thank you so much for allowing us to take that little reprieve. But we're back. We're back. We have more stories for you. So Before the break, we were talking about a representative from Congress who just married his boyfriend, which is amazing and awesome. But we do have more news from another gay member of the House of Representatives in the U.S. government. And that is, of course, David Cicilline, who just announced that he is going to be resigning from Congress as a result of him being offered a job, another job. He's going to be heading the Rhode Island Foundation as president and CEO. So congratulations again, more gay visibility for our gay peeps. But it's sad. It's sad to see that, you know, he's not going to be in Congress because he has been a very, very vocal LGBTQ plus advocate in Congress, a huge supporter, obviously, of the Respect of Marriage Act that, again, passed late last year, which offers protection for a gay marriage in the U.S. should the Supreme Court decide that they want to overturn marriage equality at the court level. So, anyway, the congressman said in a statement, "For more than a decade, the people of Rhode Island have entrusted me with the sacred duty to represent them in Congress. And it is a responsibility I put my heart and my soul into every day. The chance to lead the Rhode Island Foundation was unexpected, but it is an extraordinary opportunity to have even more direct, meaningful impact on the lives of the residents of the state that he serves in." Cicilline was the fourth out gay person ever elected to Congress, and before that was the first gay man elected as mayor of a state capital, leading Providence, Rhode Island from 2003 into 2011.
Is that why Providence is so gay?
I guess so. All right, you better work. So over more than a decade in the U.S. House, Cicilline saw a dramatic expansion in LGBTQ plus rights that included a Supreme Court ruling making marriage equality the law of the land, something later codified by Congress. But he also leaves amid a new assault from the far right on LGBTQ plus Americans in the names of parent rights, despite sometimes targeting even the parents of queer Americans themselves. Cicilline last fall led a charge in the House urging President Joe Biden to request sufficient funding in the next fiscal year's budget to promote LGBTQ plus rights globally. He also pushed in the last Congress for a transgender bill of rights. Cicilline introduced the Equality Act legislation, which would add LGBTQ plus protections to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So, I mean, we're talking about someone who clearly put his money where his mouth was, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he did the work. He went out there and did what he needed to do. And it's kind of sad that someone who has had that kind of impact and has worked as diligently as he has to advance LGBTQ plus rights, that, you know, unfortunately he's leaving Congress.
Yeah, but now he has a different way to give. I mean, the Rhode Island Foundation, I mean, this is a quick overview, but they are really all about investing in civic leadership, and community building,
right?
As well as what was the other one? There was one more pillar. I think it was about businesses of people of color, which is very important.
Agreed.
And now taking on this role, usually when somebody takes on a role like this, you have the opportunity to work with your board and look at your pillars of giving, right? And then maybe redefine a little bit about what's important to the foundation.
Right.
And he has the opportunity right now to create potentially a fund for LGBTQ plus youth potential leaders for the future.
Right.
I mean, he can affect change dramatically in his state now, whereas he was affecting change at a larger level. Could still make a huge right. difference.
And I mean, you mentioned something very important, the fact that, you know, he's spearheading this foundation, or will be at least, that could potentially, you know, offer some sort of a civic leadership programs.
Yeah, to create a stronger and more vibrant community. All voices must be heard. All of us must collaborate to solve important issues and seize emerging opportunities with decision-making backing by quality data. This is civic leadership.
Right. And you know, one of the benefits of focusing on civic leadership, at least in my opinion, would be that, you know, you're encouraging those who have for a very long time been shunned or been or they've tried to silence, to come up with more productive ways of being able to use their voice to promote change. And that may end up being, you know, individuals that, for example, are members of our community that want to step into those shoes and take advantage of programs like the ones that this foundation will foster, encouraging them to become future leaders, like you said before, which I think is great.
Yeah.
But it is sad because I think, you know, the level of work, the amount of work that he's done in Congress is just impressive and incredible.
But, you know, I have to say, I think what he's doing kind of makes sense in a way, because when we talk on the show and we talk about the House and the Congress and, you know, constantly like facing stalemates and not getting anything done.
Right.
He can actually now affect more change with locally with this foundation, whereas he was probably facing a constant battle that he could not win.
And, you know, we've always said, and we've talked about this a lot on the show, even though we're technically not a political show, we realize that a lot of the things that are happening in politics affect us directly as constituents. And we've consistently said that, you know, we put a lot of focus on presidential elections. We put a lot of focus on congressional elections. And we often overlook the importance of realizing who's leading you at home.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And, for example, how that impacts you firsthand. Because whatever decisions are made locally, you feel immediately.
Yeah.
There's some changes that happen at the national level that take, you know, sometimes months, years to go into effect. But whatever happens locally impacts you directly. Right. And so I think I agree. This is a good move for him, definitely. But nonetheless, it's worrisome because I feel that just when we thought we were getting more individuals that would help the cause, we're starting to see them go elsewhere, right? And then I start asking myself, what's driving that? Can we get more people?
I disagree. I think this is the first person that we're really seeing go elsewhere, right? That hasn't been elected out of office, right? This, I think, was a move for him that makes sense for his, you know, position and life at this moment.
Right.
But generally, I feel like there's been a huge influx of LGBTQ plus people in government.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, I agree. But maybe some of them are like, this clown car that we currently have with all these individuals right now.
It's like watching a drag show.
Right. It's quite disturbing, to say the least. And so you start thinking to yourself, you know, do I gracefully exit? Because I don't want to have to deal with the Marjorie Taylor Greens or the, you know, George Santos or the other idiot from Florida. Why are they always from Florida?
Yeah, politics is not necessarily. I mean, politics it has its challenges, and even though I'm sure he was good at what he was doing, he's probably had enough. You know what I mean? And sometimes that graceful exit allows you to continue doing good work elsewhere.
Right.
Because, and like,
it gives you a reset.
Yeah, it kind of gives you a reset, and then allows you to make that impact that you're trying to get. So it's not at a state or government level at this point, but, you know, locally, as we said before, you know, it's definitely something that will impact, and you will see at a more immediate or quicker pace.
Yeah. And I mean, the foundation is a community foundation. So just like the Greater New Haven Community Foundation, how much have they done to support the New Haven Pride Center? They have gone above and beyond, and they continue to. Right. I mean, he has an opportunity to really affect change locally. So I honestly
It's a good thing. I agree. It is a good thing. I'm just, I'm worried. I'm a little worried because it is just as important.
I don't think gay people are being scared out of politics. Let me just say that much.
No. I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying
Are you kidding me with all the closet cases in the Republican Party, tapping feet under bathroom stalls at airports? Yeah, no, it's...
Yeah. I mean, he's probably like at a point in his life where he's like, I've done what I can and I've been a part of so much.
Change.
And now I want to go back home. I want to go back to my roots and I want to affect change where it really matters, where I can see it every day.
Right. And
I think that's really powerful.
It really is. And, congratulations to him. Claps for Mr. Cicilline for all the hard work that you've done at the national level and all the great work you're going to do locally. Because I think, I think it'll be a good move.
Yeah.
It'll be a good move for him. So I'm sad, but it'll be a good move. All right. So we've got more. We've got more for you. Oh my God. We came back strong this week. We were just like, we were ready. I was like, after a week of just doing nothing, I was just like, I can't. But I'm going to toss it over to Jay because Jay's story and my next story actually, they sort of kind of go hand in hand in a sense, but I want him to talk about your story first before we move on to mine. So let me toss it over to him. Do you want some love? Do you need something?
No,
getting. No, go.
We are good. No, but we're always talking about just transparency and communication, and we always talk about the HIV community and what we try to advance. So apparently in Germany there has been yet another person that has been cured of HIV with a risky bone marrow transfer. If I'm not mistaken, this is the third person.
Right.
Fifth.
Yeah, I think they said that there's strong evidence with this particular.
So basically, as they were stating in the article, the 53-year-old patient at Dusseldorf University Hospital in Germany.
Where's Chris when you need him?
Dusseldorf.
Because I feel like he would just,
Hufflepuff. That's all I thought about when I first saw it. Yeah, that's automatically I went to Harry Potter, but So they were saying that the gentleman had been diagnosed with HIV and he received a bone marrow transplant intended to treat leukemia in 2013. The procedure replaces bone marrow cells with those of a donor with a mutated gene for the CCR5 protein, which is found in the white blood cells, which HIV uses the protein to enter the cell, and it cannot attach itself to the new mutated gene. So it's been several years since that procedure was done, and he, without medication, is still testing negative for HIV virus.
So they put a new gene into his white blood cells, and now
it's a mutated gene.
Well, the bone marrow itself carries
that mutated gene.
Right. And so then the HIV virus can't attach
it to it. So
therefore, it can't keep replicating itself in the body.
Well, while this is really amazing, I'm like, well, what's going to happen with that mutated gene?
I don't know. Maybe you'll start flying, or
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like
electricity, like
X-Men
like
in the making.
Yeah, you just never know. I just think science, for whatever it's worth, for whatever people think it is or it is not, science is just amazing. The things that we're doing with medicine. I mean, think about, for example, with the pandemic, with the COVID pandemic, we developed a vaccine in such a short time frame that it is incredible to believe that, we're getting there. We're getting to the point where we're not taking decades to come up with a treatment. It took us literally a year and 2 months.
Yes.
Right. And so to see something so devastating, because, when you really think about AIDS and HIV, it was something that was so devastating to our community.
Honestly, it wasn't even till we started the show that Truvada was available.
Right. I mean, Truvada's only been out for like seven years, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, these advancements in medicine have been recent, and they have been very, very incredible to see how we went from having the conversation of when we were growing up, all three of us, you know, you get HIV, you're going to get AIDS, you're going to die.
Well, it was, you're gay, you're going to get HIV, and you're going to die.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
No, that's not the case. We now know that we have an array of different treatments, which a lot of them were oral at the time, that require, constant medication that could prolong your life. And we've seen or have seen many people live long, beautiful, amazing, healthy lives. Because of those medical advances that were made in the mid 90s into the 2000s.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, here comes 2007. 5 years later, we're making yet another advancement and more with PrEP and things like that. So to see.
This change in itself, I mean, technically they weren't even trying to treat the HIV.
Right.
They're treating cancer, so treating patients for cancer. There's been bone marrow transplants. There's been additional procedures that they have done. To treat certain cancers, and lo and behold, it's actually curing people. So it is possible, but it is considered a very difficult and risky procedure.
Right.
So it's not something that's being advertised as the end-all cure-all to HIV.
Right.
So just to keep that in mind, but it does show that there has been an advancement made, and I worked in the HIV field for years, for many years as a caseworker. And I remember, I had so many clients that were on cocktails. 20, 30 pills. To see something like this pop up, within my lifetime, it's an amazing, amazing advancement. I thought it was something we definitely should discuss. It's not always doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Right.
It shouldn't always be doom and gloom. And this is such a good, positive note on this.
Well, for a long time, in general, we thought if you had a virus, no matter if it was HIV or not, a virus is not treatable. It runs its course or whatnot. You can't do anything about it. But clearly, we're seeing that you can.
Right. It's important to also note, for example, the virologist. Oh my God, I said the word right. Bjorn Eric Jensen said that to remove HIV from the body, it's just it's not easy work, but it just shows that it's not impossible.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That as long as you apply yourself and you think outside of the box, which is kind of hard to do because a lot of us work in a cube, by the way. It just shows that, if you work hard and you think about all of your different variables and think of alternative treatments that are already out there, that you could discover new ways of being able to treat something that has been very problematic for the past 40 plus years. And to think that, in another 5 or 6 years, 80 from 80 to 2020, it's already been 50 plus years.
Yeah.
Since we've been dealing head on with the impacts of HIV and AIDS, not only on our community, which was very, traumatic in the beginning, but also on the world population. You think about straight people, you think about bisexual people, gay people. It's affecting the world community. And I just think that having different treatments like this is just amazing. Yeah. I'm really amazed at what science can do.
I just hope that before my time is up here, I see the same results for cancer. You know what I mean?
Because we made a lot of advances.
We have.
Yeah.
But we still lose a lot of people, unfortunately,
We do.
with cancer. It's unfortunately it returns. So,
Right.
Something that I would like to see before my time is up. Definitely.
Yeah. I think that in the next 15 years, we're going to see great discoveries in medicine and in science related to cancer, related to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Because there's a lot of foundations out there that are aggressively looking to fund research and make sure that we don't lose sight of how important it is to find solutions for something that is just so problematic to the world population. Yeah. So that being said, Jay, thank you for bringing up that story. That's amazing.
Always glad to
look at you coming in.
Prepared.
Our baby is grown.
She's
ready to leave the nest.
She's ready.
And we're not going to have any others. Oh my
No,
God.
not a-
So that's awesome. So piggybacking on your story about HIV and breakthroughs, I want to talk about the potential for a PrEP implant that may actually fully protect against HIV. So a study involving macaques, which might be some sort of primate, by the way, shows the injectable implant is fully effective at preventing HIV. So here it goes. In 2017, a joint study between the Centers for Disease Control, Prevention, and the University of North Carolina had worked to develop an injectable implant that can release pre-exposure prophylaxis, or as what we know as PrEP,
As needed?
medication into the body for an extended period of time. Right. So the latest research, which was published in Nature Communications, shows that the most recent formulation can provide up to 6 months of full protection against HIV in non-human primates.
I have this image of this antibody in your body being like, oh, this bitch is getting down right now. Release.
Again,
And by the way, it's pronounced macaques.
macaques. Okay.
Yeah, macaques.
Macaques.
Not my cocks, my cocks.
Macaques.
Okay.
Macaques.
Macaques. Okay. So this is the first time that we've shown 100% protection against multiple virus challenges in macaques model of PrEP over an extended period of time. The associate professor at UNC and NCSU Joint Department of Biomedical Engineering in a statement. Our goal with this technology is a once or twice yearly injection that could be self-administered. So that being said, we know that we've seen a lot of commercials recently about this product called Dovato. Right. And Dovato is a twice, it's an injection that you give yourself every 2 months.
With Armando.
with Armando, right? And it's sort of kind of like a replacement for your monthly PrEP pill that you take, right?
Or isn't it daily?
It's daily. Yeah. It is daily. Sorry, it is daily. So with this shot, you can take it every 2 months. With the research and
this really is the gay birth control.
Yeah, seriously. So with Dovato, you literally take a shot every 2 months. It's administered by your doctor, and you would go in twice, every 2 months to get your shot, and you're done. You don't have to take PrEP every day like you currently do with some of the medications that were available in the past 6 years. But with this new, amazing find, the team is focusing on refining that material, refining those findings of being able to have a 2 month lapse before your next dose and trying to extend that to at least 6 months. And building on what Dovato and the makers of that drug did, they're looking to be able to actually make that happen. And if they do, you're literally going to go see your doctor every 6 months to have your shot. The goal is to be able to have this be an injectable implant that you can self-administer yourself at home. So you don't have to go see a doctor. They can prescribe it and say, on this day,
in gay history,
pop it in. Right?
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about it for 6 months. And I think it's just such a beautiful thing because, as you know, and as we've learned with our amazing Dr. Evan Goldstein on the show, not everyone wants to be able to engage sexually with condoms on. And there's nothing wrong with that. You have an option. You, as your own human, as your own person, can make decisions for your sexual health and decide what's best for you. This just gives us one more tool in the arsenal for you to be able to do that in a way that won't put you or your partners or anyone else at risk.
Yeah, that's
right?
amazing.
And I think it's great. And so I'm interested to see where this goes. I definitely want to see where it goes because I think this is very promising. And, who's to say that in another 5 years, it won't be a yearly shot?
Yeah.
We then have an official vaccine like you would for the flu. You go take it once a year.
Yeah,
true.
So we see governments, for example, France, even the U.S. said, we're going to wipe out HIV by 2025. That's 3 years from now. That's not going to happen, right?
Yeah. You never know.
But they keep extending those dates. Oh, now it's 3035. By 3035, we want to be able to, you know, make an effort to live.
2035.
Or 2035. What did I say?
3035.
Well, yeah, it's 120 years. I won't even be here, girl.
You don't know. Maybe if you get that bone marrow transplant and you're just regenerating.
That could be a possibility. That could be a possibility. I mean, I like the idea. I like the sound of that. But by 2035, you know, there's a lot of governments are saying that they're aiming to be able to end the AIDS pandemic and be able to manage. And I think it's possible. Research like this, work like this, hearing about, you know, potential treatments makes me believe that we're getting there.
I think the biggest struggle that we're going to face once we have more of these potential medications that can do this in place is funding to make sure that we're reaching third world nations.
Agreed.
And dealing with not just the LGBTQ plus community focused on that, right? But dealing with all of those children in, say, Africa who are born with HIV.
Right.
It's a huge problem over there. And if we don't have funding to actually get this medicine over there, then, yeah, that goal sounds great.
Right.
But it's not achievable because we have to make sure that we get the medicine to the people that need it.
And I think if we borrow the COVID model, right, where we as a nation, for example, in the U.S., ordered so many COVID vaccines that we had to start sharing them with other countries and giving them, you know, especially those countries that were affected financially because of the hardships that COVID caused with shutdowns, that had an opportunity to actually gain access to vaccinations without having to, you know, put themselves in bankruptcy as a result because of the cost of this medication. So, you know, if that is the case, if we follow that model and we see, you know, developed countries like the U.S., the Great Britain and other big nations start offering and doing what they need to do, I think we can do that.
Yeah, while I agree with you, I also remember a conversation that we had with Hans where he very clearly stated that, you know, the U.S. was in fact hoarding vaccinations and not sharing it out in areas that needed it.
Well, I mean, in the beginning, we needed to make sure that we had enough vaccinations for our own population, which is very important.
And of course, but I'm just saying.
But I do know, because I remember reading that we were sending vaccinations to countries that didn't have the resources to actually get these vaccines. You know, and then you have countries like, for example, China, who made their own vaccine. We don't know the efficacy of how efficient they are, and refuse to use anything from anyone else. You know, and then, for example, the recent outbreak that they had was very catastrophic, and the shutdowns, and the people were just like, we're not doing this again. We're done. Like, we don't want to have
Pfizer.
We don't want another pandemic for, again, another 100 years, you know, and just, you know, fortunately, that's the world we live in.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, but I'm happy. This is great news, not only for our community, but for everyone around the world. If something like this were to be successful in helping reach that goal. Absolutely. And that is, ladies and gents, all we have for you today. I hope that was enough. Was it?
It was plenty.
Do you think? What did you say?
It was a mouthful.
Oh, of course it is. It's always a mouthful, especially when your mouth is big. All right. Well, I'm going to toss it over to my children around the table so that we can go ahead and wrap the show up. So, Trish, you're up.
Not ready.
Mama Kim's Minute.
She's not ready, but her face looks fabulous.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Here's Mama Kim's Minute, brought to you by Bare Minerals. Number 1, White Sox celebrate as pro baseball player. White Sox baseball. Gay. Sorry. White Sox celebrate as pro baseball player comes out in inspiring Instagram post. Number 2, how a famous pop star and a lot of love helped a bullied teen become a mental health visionary. Number 3, Chuck Schumer announces that his daughter and her wife welcomed a baby.
Yes, Queen! Claps for Chuck and his daughter. Yeah, that first one was tough.
Yeah.
She was going through it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Give her a week off and she just forgets how to talk.
Uh-huh.
A little bit, a little bit.
A little bit. Mr. Jaybird.
And I guess on this day in gay history,
You're it.
February 22, 2007, in the Netherlands, openly gay. See that? I already screwed it up. Openly lesbian member of government in the Netherlands is elected, and that was I'm gonna screw this up.
Can't give her a week off either.
Gerda Verburg becomes the Minister of Agriculture, Nature, and Food Quality.
While I know there was a lot of big words in that, and I'm sorry, the other one was
All
about,
German words today for me.
The other one was about Trump, and we don't talk about him on the show.
That's
so
good.
I couldn't. Yeah.
I'll deal with this.
right.
I think I can rebound from that.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I appreciate you, Trish. More than words.
More than words.
More than you know. Okay. Well,
And
Jay.
on to the announcements. Okay.
Right on to you.
If you love the show, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting service. By subscribing, you get the latest and greatest of our show delivered right to your favorite device or web browser as soon as the episode is published. You can also support us on Patreon. With Patreon, you, our lovely listeners, can help to support the show with a pledged donation. The donations are collected monthly and can be in any denomination of $1 or more. But see, I'm a big girl, so we need more than $1.
Yeah. I mean, have you heard that computer back there?
She hungry for a new
For a new
CPU.
CPU. Tom, over to you.
Maybe we can have his future husband come and check it out.
Right?
Yeah, we should. We should have him come into studio. He
Yeah.
can check out the computer.
Yeah.
He's an Apple Tech.
Yeah. IT.
Oh.
Oh.
I know who you're talking about.
And he's listening.
She can come.
She can.
She can come. That's all right.
Come.
All right. Well, and now, okay, here we go. And now, here's Nick with our weekly reminder for all you bottoms out there who want to keep your buttholes on point. Yes, we are talking about the future method, and I'm going to toss it over to her, but I'm going to give her some love first. So here she goes.
All right, this is for my future husband. Don't worry, because I already got the future method, but you can get it today. Each time you clean out with water or enemas, delicate tissues are harmed and cells are damaged, increasing chances of injury and or STDs. This first-of-its-kind doctor-developed formula gently cleanses before you play without hurting your bum. That's your job, boo. Visit futuremethod.com to purchase your life-changing bum cleanser today.
Jaybird.
Oh boy. And as always, it's time to put a ring on it. And we will do our closing plugs. Our show is available on our website, GayTalk2.0 under audio podcast. It is also available as a free download on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher Radio. Nick, over to you.
All right, you can find us on social media, Facebook, GayTalk 2.0, Instagram, GayTalk 2.0. You can email us at GayTalk2.0 at GayTalk20.com. Tom, good luck.
All right. Well, before I say goodbye and say goodnight, one more reminder, Sunday, April 2nd, 2023. Make sure that you go out. If you're in Connecticut, check out the Queer Queens of Comedy. They're going to be live at the Funny Bone Comedy Club and Restaurant in Manchester, Connecticut on April 2nd, 2023. So check them out.
And also, don't forget that Sunday, February 26th, is my last day bartending at Partners. So come out, sing karaoke, and have a good night.
That's right. And you get to say farewell to our amazing Trish, who we are going to miss. There's never going to be another one like her behind that bar.
No.
Thank God.
They
No.
literally sent me a picture. They sent me a picture of the schedule, and it says, "Rest in peace, Trish."
Oh, so we can't call you Trish anymore on the show?
Well, no, it actually says, "Rest in peace, Nick," but...
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. Got you. All right, well, ladies and gents, if you need to reach out to us, just head on over to our website. Click on the Contact Us tab located at the top of your web browser. There you can leave comments, suggest a topic, submit a question for the cast, or any of these two other bitches. You can also call us and leave us a voice message with any questions you may have, which we can answer on the show for you. Our phone number is 334-GAY-TALK. And if you need all those digits, it is 334-429-8255. Don't forget that we do stream live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. and you can access the live stream by visiting gaytalk20.com/live stream. And that's it. Ladies and gents, I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. That is our show. Thank you, and y'all have a good night. Bye! Thank you for listening to this episode of Gay Talk 2.0. Tune in next time for more dish.